Ex-stepdad shows up unannounced and tries to force my little brother to go with him. This happened recently, and I just need to get this off my chest. So because of a housing situation, I live with my parents, grandparents, my uncle and aunt, my cousins and my little brothers. It's Sunday, so everyone was at church aside from me and my 11-year-old brother, who I call B. It was 12:20, so I figured everyone would be coming home soon. I heard the car's gate open and a knock on the front door, so I hurried to it. I wear glasses, but I didn't have them on in this particular moment cause I was making coffee and that usually steams my lenses. I looked through the peephole, and though I couldn't tell who it was, I recognized the shirt as the same one my current stepdad wore to church that day. When I opened the door though, I realized it was my old stepdad, Brad. This guy was and still is the absolute worst. For the 4 years he was married to my mom, he was a total alcoholic, a downright horrible person, an abusive husband and father, an unapologetic cheater, just complete scum. Hearing him argue with my mom while growing up is the reason my brother is really sensitive emotionally. And even after all he put the 3 of us through, even though his own son is legitimately scared of him, he thinks he has a right to come and take him whenever he wants. He said he came here to pick up my little brother so he could visit his younger twin half-sisters. The thing is though, he called on Saturday and said he'd come on the day, but never showed up, which isn't anything new. I was going to lie to him and say I was the only one home. But then my little brother walked into the room. Brad started talking to B and told him that he was here to pick him up. He then asked if we were alone in the house. I lied and said our uncle was here since he knew our uncle and also knew that he's a cop. Unfortunately, he saw right through my bluff by calling my uncle's phone and listening for the ring. He called B towards him and started trying to guilt him into coming with him by saying that he doesn't see his sisters enough. Whose fault is that? I could tell B was uncomfortable and scared. So I told Brad that he should have come yesterday since we had plans for today. He asked me where our mom was so he could talk to her. I knew for a fact he knew where she was because she always goes to church on Sundays, and that's why he showed up when he did. He then asked me if I could call her since she blocked his number. My phone was in my room, and even though I really didn't want to take my eyes off him, it did seem like a good idea to call my parents and tell them to get home as soon as possible. I slowly stepped out of view before running to my room, grabbing my phone and running back. By the time I got back though, he had let himself inside the house. I quickly called my mom and she picked up in the middle of church. I gave Brad my phone and he stepped outside for a moment to take the call. I quickly turned to B, who at this point was crying because he felt pressured and uncomfortable. I sat B down on the couch and tried to calm him down. Brad comes back in and along with him comes Rad, his 15-year-old son from another marriage. That's not his real name, but his name is literally the same as Brad's, just without the B. Even though our mother told him on the phone that B couldn't go with him, he was determined to wait there until my parents got back so he could talk in person. He sat down on the couch next to B, and Rad sat in a chair opposite. Rad was looking really sorry for us, and I figured he was also here because of similar reasons. Now that I was close enough, I could smell the cigarette smoke and alcohol coming off of Brad, which wasn't at all considerate when he was here to see his son, who had asthma, which he caused. I wanted to tell Brad to get out, but I figured that probably wasn't a good move, since he was quick to anger and just so happened to also be a cop. And I didn't know whether or not he had his gun on him. We sat on the couch for 40 minutes with both Rad and me trying to keep the situation calm. The sound of the gate sliding open and several cars pulling into the driveway felt so relieving. In walks my uncle, current stepdad, and grandpa. My stepdad is also a cop and my grandpa is a retired warden, who are both bigger than Brad, so I knew for sure he wouldn't try anything now. My mom came in next and told me I could leave now since she wanted to talk with both Brad and B. I picked up my now ice-cold coffee and went to my room. I couldn't even relax enough to drink it until I knew Brad was gone. After another 20 minutes, I could hear Brad leaving, so I exited my room. On his way out, Rad apologized for all the trouble his dad caused, and I really felt bad that there wasn't really anything we could do for him. I feel so ashamed that I even opened the door in the first place and couldn't even stop Brad from coming in. This whole situation cost my brother a lot of turmoil and I really hope in the future that I can actually do something to prevent it.